Somehow we've been convinced and maybe even conditioned that constant movement is the main and best way to achieve a goal. I think what is really foundational to achieving goals or making progress in life in general are the boring, mundane, everyday tasks that compound over time and eventually get you to a new level in your life. We are very much in a space where we don't know how to be bored. Every minute of every day has to be filled with something. We've kind of lost the art of stillness. I can also admit it myself, like sometimes you don't want to be bored. You do want to be overstimulated. The hardest part about boredom itself or boring and mundane tasks is staying motivated through that. Like, how do you get over the hump of stillness and doing the same thing over and over and over, knowing that this is the blueprint and this is the structure that I need to adhere to, adapt to in order to get to the next place in my life, whatever that looks like for you? How do you stay motivated to do that? Here are a few things that I feel that I'm working through myself that have helped decompress and declutter. You have to start with getting rid of that mental clutter, stimulation from so many sources on a daily basis. Really, you have to take a step back. So whatever that looks like for you, maybe it's like disconnecting for a day, taking a day off, a self-care day, whatever that is, but really giving yourself the space and allowing yourself to decompress, declutter, and just like be still. Because when you have so many things moving through your mind, when you are being pulled in so many different directions all the time, you start to feel like you're doing too much and not enough all at the same time. And this is exhausting. Like, who wants to feel like they're doing a million and one things and you're still stuck in the same place? Like, that's not the point of doing all that you're doing. But if you're constantly moving with no direction, you can end up where you started.
Message!
And then on the other side of that, too much going on in your brain, having too many things to do, reinforces this idea that like you have to be tied to a task in order to feel like you're making progress. And that is not always true. You can be doing absolutely nothing and still be making progress. Movement doesn't equal progress. Sometimes stillness and boredom is what you need in order to unlock that level of productivity you're searching for. Do whatever you feel like your heart is saying, getting you back into a clear headspace, even if it's for a few hours. Like, if you can't dedicate a day, take an hour, take half an hour, like something that is really rooted in just like you disconnecting and then trying to make that a habit. I'm getting into this, I guess, practice of brain dumping. Anything that's in my head, as an overthinker, I'm a chronic overthinker. So anything that's in my head, I need to brain dump. And instead of just writing it on my notes on my phone, like literally physically writing on paper, that feels like it's a little bit of a release. Declutter is happening. So do whatever you got to do to decompress and declutter. You can kind of get back to square one and reorient yourself and remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing in the first place. Number two, having a reward system in place is a game changer. I think where most of us fall off, me included, in terms of being consistent with the boring goals that get us to the places that we want to be, is when we don't see a reward tied to that task. We understand what the long-term goal is, but that short-term gratification, if that's missing, you could fall off so quick. The gym, for example, getting in shape is not easy. Staying consistent at the gym is not easy. Of course, we know that, okay, you got to work out X times a week and show up X times a week. You know that you have to do that. But if you're not seeing the reward, if you don't see the fruits of your labor instantly, you have no motivation to continue doing that. And it's like, how do you get over that disconnect where you know what the long-term goal is and you know what you want to achieve in the gym, for example, you know what your dream body is, but it's that in between. This is something that I'm also working on because I recognize that when it comes to consistency in boring things that are getting me to the life that I want, I need something to look forward to, because if not, I will just continue the cycle of inconsistency, and we're not doing that. Your brain needs something to look forward to or it will revolt. And that revolt looks different for different people. Like for me, I just like, all right, I might give up. I can't. I'm just not doing this anymore. I can't do it. And this is something I've also recognized. The reward cannot be the outcome, especially when it comes to long-term goals, especially when it comes to things that will not happen overnight, that may take months, years. You need something to push you, propel you forward, to look forward to. That isn't that dream body. That isn't becoming a millionaire. Whatever that big goal or small goal is for you, that reward cannot just be the outcome, because if it's so far out of reach or feels far from where you are in this present moment, then you're not going to be motivated to continue. One of the things that I've been using as rewards is really like moments where I feel like my absolute best self. Your reward really has to be tied around something that you can access, a feeling that you can access, and not something that is in the making. It has to be a feeling that is available to you right now, something that you can pull from and take from. Really something that kind of like refills your cup in a way. Because once you associate doing that boring task with that reward that kind of refuels you and gets you back to 100%, you keep going. And that's where the consistency continues. And before you know it, you can multiply those tasks and you're multiplying goals. And like, then you're really moving. You're moving strategically, you're moving with structure. So piggyback off of having a reward, another major way to stay motivated through the boredom is the counter. In my brain, boredom is very analytical, right? It's very structured, it's kind of rigid. The opposite of that is creativity, is fluidity. We need a necessary counterpart to boredom, similar to like the reward. So like, you don't want to be too analytical to the point where you're a robot, but you also don't want to be too creative and fluid and, well, I don't want to say too creative because that doesn't sound right, but you don't want to be too like free flowing and fluid to the point where it's like you can't get anything done. Whether it's creativity or whatever makes you feel like whimsical, allows you to just kind of turn your brain off. Having that balance and that counteractivity really kind of keeps things in check. I am a very type A analytical, I'm a STEM girly. So like I'm inquisitive. I want to know why things are working the way they're working. I have questions about everything. My brain truly feels like it runs a mile a minute most of the time. So having that creative side really helps me to balance the analytical, boring, mundane, task-oriented, task-driven side of my brain. And being able to do that without turning creativity into like a side hustle or a job, because that just takes away from the whole purpose, I think, of being able to be free-flowing. So many great ideas just come from not thinking or not feeling like you have to think about anything. Turning creativity into an obligation makes it feel rigid again. It makes it feel analytical. And then it doesn't become an outlet. And then that defeats the whole purpose. So the counter to boredom should really be something that makes you feel grounded in yourself. Something that you do because how it makes you feel, not because of what it produces. That's touching grass, reading, thrifting, hanging out with the people I love, feeling poured into, feeling excited about my life and myself and where I'm going and what I've done, even on the worst of the worst of the worst days, and really like tapping into the joy that exists in little pockets in my life, even on a daily basis when I'm not doing the things that are, grandiose or extravagant. Boredom is not the enemy, but it is a portal. So don't outrun it. Decompress, declutter, find a reward, find something to balance it. And when it feels like you're not making any progress, just remember, small tasks compound over time. So you might be closer than you think.